everybody's now got this genius level intelligence right in your phone. All you gotta do is ask. Again, it gives you this amazing sense of like knowing everything but knowing nothing. It's scary because I don't have kids, but if I did, I would worry that they're not learning, because I see kids nowadays, they don't even know how many states there are. They don't know like basic math, like looking at a clock. They can't read a clock. It's scary. An AI can look at something and see things that the human won't recognize. I mean, if you look at right now, it already, I don't know if you know this, like pancreatic cancer is one of the largest killers of people. It's a number 3 because when they normally find it, it's usually in stage 3 or 4. It's usually too far gone. Now, recently, I believe it was about 4 months ago now, they had a thing where they said that AI is extending them a year and a half out now. They're able to detect it earlier because of AI. I mean, think about that just right there, that alone, because it's able to understand and see stuff and put correlations and points together that we as humans just can't even fathom. And this is just the beginning on that. AI is going to do everything better. It just does. It sucks to say. Most the average person doesn't know anything about AI. And that person, if they don't, like Bridget said, if they don't start being just aware, you don't have to use it, but just be aware and know what's going on. A lot of people are going to wake up and look around and it's just going to be here and they're going to be like, what happened? And they're going to be lost.
All right. So welcome, Jeffrey Banek. Is that how you say your last name?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, cool. I'm obsessed with pronouncing people's name correctly. So thank you so much for joining us, the funnel doc himself. I'm super excited to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Jeff.
Pleasure, for sure.
So, Jeff, can you tell us how you use high level, just for the people who are unfamiliar with you? Obviously, they haven't been in the community very long because you're all over the place. But can you just explain to people, your experience, how you're using high level, the solution that you provide, and who you serve?
Yeah, sure. We build out high levels in so many different ways. We do complete ecosystems involving funnels and AI and everything like that. So we use high level for funnels, for automations, for AI, for pipelines, for tracking. I mean, like everything that could possibly be used for, practically we do with that. And so that's really what we focus on, is building out complete AI ecosystems, but we also do like white label SaaS and, full webinar ecosystems. It's funny being the funnel doc, we used to focus mainly on funnels, but as a lot of you know now too, with AI, funnels are becoming so easy to make if you vibe code at all or do any of that stuff. So I saw this coming 3 years ago when chat first came out, and that's one of the reasons why I shifted. So now we really just focus on AI and AI ecosystems.
What do you think has been the most helpful aspect of AI to a business owner? There's so many things, but what have you found in your experience and working with your clients that it's like the biggest win for them?
Yeah, it's definitely the fact that they can leverage it for speed. So tasks that used to take them weeks or days now takes hours and minutes. Like literally research, automations is another way. Just being able to do repetitive tasks or data driven stuff now, being able to take that off their hands so they're able to focus on other things.
I love it.
Yeah, definitely. So, in terms of your like because do you have a community that you're serving? Like, do you
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
group? Okay, so tell us about that. Tell us about your community.
Yeah, I have a big community called the AI Lab. There's 2 parts. There's a free version where everybody comes and collabs about everything in AI, from vibe coding to Chat GPT to Agentic to N8N to all that good stuff. Basically anything you think of when it comes to AI. And then I have a whole paid community where I'm actually have a certification program where I'm actually setting the standard of what it is to be an AI consultant, or what it is to be an AI architect, or even what it is to be an AI agency owner. Because as you know, AI is so new, there is no standard out there, and we really need to set some type of golden level of excellence that that, hey, everybody knows at least this much, because it is changing so much. You need to make sure that you're constantly always keeping up with everything.
Yeah.
How do you stay on top of things? I know I struggle with that myself. People in my community say, "Oh, did you check out this new thing with Claude?" And check out the new. It's like there's all these new things. What do you think is the best resource for you to just stay up to date with all the AI news?
Um, Really YouTube. I mean, just you know, like it's really the easiest having certain people that you know that you can trust to let them sort of do research in certain areas. I use that person's expertise and then bring it into my own, and that way I'm able to touch like 5 or 6 different domains of AI without having to drill down in each one of them because it's one of the hardest things. It's like literally I've been doing digital marketing and funnels and all this for almost 10 years now, and AI has been the hardest thing to become an expert in, just because, oh look, Gemini 3 dropped now and everything's changed. Oh, Nano Bananas dropped. Oh, VO3 dropped. It's like it's just constantly whatever you think is the standard for AI doubles like every couple of months now. So that's really the best thing I found, is finding people that I can trust that are on social media that have specialties, and then sort of learning to watch what to them to suck the information from so I don't have to do it myself.
Do you have a preference on an LLM that you lean on more heavily than others?
So that's a great question. So I think it's a user's bias a little bit. That I've always been on, Chat GPT, OpenAI. So I've had a bias towards that. I do use Claude, especially for coding and stuff like that. And then now with Gemini out, I think I might be leaning more towards Google's Gemini, just because. Well, first of all, it's supposed to be. I haven't had a full test on. It's supposed to be amazing and everything, especially agentic and everything else. But the fact that it's Google, and Google's now have such an ecosystem, and they're making AI like part of that ecosystem in every way. So even in their vibe code builder, you can just be like, oh, I want Google Maps in it. I wanted to make a video with VO3. I wanted to use Nano Banana. I want to use where, because it's built this AI ecosystem of everything Google, it's so easy to bring that in. So, and with Google Docs and everything, of course, too. So I'm thinking about maybe going that way, but it just depends. Like Claude's really good for copy too, as well as code, where chat's really good for brainstorming, but they're all getting so high and so good that I think it's just tomato to some degree, depending on what you're doing. But long story short, to answer your question, I use chat the most.
Gotcha.
Hey, when did you get into marketing, Jeff? You said 10
Oh,
years ago. I know that wasn't your first job. What did you do before this, and
yeah,
how
yeah.
did you make the
So
shift?
it's a great story. I was a personal trainer for like 18 years. And I was trying to figure out how to move my personal training brand online. That was the thing. And, it's like everything's going online. How do I sell online? And I'm studying under this guy named Bedros Koulian. I don't know if you ever heard of him before. He's really, at that time, he had a boot camp chain called Fit Body Boot Camp, had really big into selling and fitness and personal training. And one day he holds up this book from some guy like Russell Brunson, something called .com Secrets or something. And being a good mentor or student, if your mentor tells you to read it, you read it. And it felt like when Neo, we're getting a little older, so this reference doesn't work as much. Some people haven't seen it, but when Neo saw the Matrix for the first time, I was like, oh, funnels, upsells, webinars. It was like everything started making sense. And I really went all in on Russell and ClickFunnels so much that a lot of people don't know this, but I actually have a funnel tacker tattoo, and I got this way back 2006, April 4th, 2016, as like a commitment that I do something great in the ClickFunnels world, to be a weirdo with a funnel hacker tattoo. And luckily it was the first and not the second thing. I got a couple of awards and whatnot. But yeah, I started out then 2000 April. It was really the beginning, January 2016. And then 2017, I got my first award with ClickFunnels for a 2 award. So yeah, I decided I was going to go all in. There was 32,000 people in the ClickFunnels group at that time. And one of the biggest ways I've always found, it's one thing when you know something, but when you can teach others, I feel that's when like true mastery happens. So I was spending, a lot of people don't know this, I spend like 6 to 8 hours a day in the ClickFunnels group, just helping people out, jumping on Zooms, answering questions, looking up stuff, whatever they needed when it came to ClickFunnels and funnels, I was there helping them out. And then all of a sudden this guy posts one day, there's a story behind it as well. At this time, like a lot of us, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. I was still working personal training on the side, but it wasn't any consistent, like $600 here, $1,000 there. I was married at the time, and my wife was pretty much supporting us. She was a manager at Starbucks at that time, and I had maxed out all of our credit cards on courses and everything. Everybody knows when they first started out, you're just buying everything you get your hand on, and I was really stressing this out. And then one day she goes to work, and I'm sitting at her. My front desk was by the door, and I'm watching Russell back. It was like marketing quickies when he looked like he was 15 years old. I literally fall asleep on my keyboard, wake up, and hit play. I was so enthralled in learning the funnel system. So she goes to work, and she comes back, and like 30 minutes later, she's just bawling like somebody died. I'm like, babe, what's going on? What's going on? And she's like, I got fired. I'm like, well, what happened? The night before they were throwing out food, she was the manager. One of the girls asked if she could take one of the muffins home they were throwing away. And she said, sure. Well, one of the other girls apparently reported her to corporate, and overnight they were both fired for theft. No questions asked, just because that's the way the corporate is there. So we go from paycheck to paycheck to no check to no check. And next thing you know, rent's coming up. And it was like $1,200 for rent. We had no money. We had to pawn my wife's ring literally to be able to pay rent. And it wasn't enough. We still had to borrow like $400 from her parents. It was literally like the worst time of my life. I mean, it was really, really, really bad. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this guy, Kevin David, posts in the ClickFunnels group. He was like, hey, I need help with these funnels. And everybody just starts tagging me. I wasn't like Funnel Doc then. They're like, Jeff's guy. And there's like, literally, it was the most amazing thing. Especially going from being just like a trainer to have like at least 50 or 60 people in a group tag me telling him how awesome I was, So I show him the tattoo. I show him some funnels I built, and he paid me like $6,000. And at that time, I thought I was rich. And this was to build out his entire funnel ecosystem. It was his webinar, like everything but the webinar itself and the course we created. It was just me back then. The automations, the whole funnels, like everything you could imagine in it. And he paid me like $6,000. I was like, baby, we're rich. We're getting your ring out of pawn. We're going out to dinner at Red Lobster, like it was, I thought it was so much money. I was so excited. And about a month and a half later, we launched his first funnel. And at that time, Dan Henry had the fastest to $1 million. And we shattered his record by a couple weeks. Back then, now mind you, this is 2017, we did 1.2 million in 57 days, which is like back then was a big deal. Now people do it in like a couple hours even, because everybody preps so much before they launch. But we did 1.2 million in 57 days. That funnel went on to do, I think it did 26 million in total. It did 10 million in just under 18 months. That got the X award for me. Then I did another one for Kevin. That was my second one. Then I technically should have 3 more, but 2 people just didn't even care about the award. They were just like, I just want the money. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I had another guy that was a yoga coach. And then I had an Amazon FBA guy. The last funnel we launched did 844K in 7 days and broke $1 million in 10 days. And then altogether, that journey is done just over 61 million now in just under 10 years. So
That's really cool.
yeah, it was a wild ride. It was crazy to my first year as my agency, we did, I think it was about 12 million for their clients, but my agency did 800,000. I went from 32 grand the year before to making 800 grand, taking home just over 400. And it was like the craziest thing. Like, I didn't know what to do. I lost so much money the first couple years, like hiring friends, not filling out contracts properly, 80 grand here, 50 grand here. It's, as you know, the journey of an entrepreneur is definitely ups and downs, but I would never trade anything for it. I'm so grateful for Russell and ClickFunnels. Even though I'm not with ClickFunnels really more, I do most of my stuff on high level. I would never have anything bad to say about them. They're amazing, and Russell's an amazing guy. So.
Yeah. I got started back in ClickFunnels a while back, just using it moderately through business. But okay, so one of the things that I just kind of want to shift gears a little bit, if you don't mind.
Sure.
One of the things that we love to talk about with our guest is really like who the person is behind the business, right? Who is Jeff? Who is, like, what do you want people to know about you that maybe people don't know?
I don't know. I'm pretty much an open book on most stuff. So there's not probably to detriment. My mom tells me that's funny. I say my mom, but she does. She tells me I share too much sometimes. So, um, I just I'm very blessed. I love what I do. It's amazing the fact that we're able to make the impact that we are on people. Um, you know, Bridget experienced it when we were at Funnel Hacking Live, sorry, at High Level Summit this year.
Are you a coach or consultant trying to build your business with high level, but feeling overwhelmed and overworked? Are you putting in long hours, but still struggling to land your first client? You're not alone. Many entrepreneurs believe they just need to work harder. But what if your problem isn't your work ethic, but your lack of a system? I've spent the last 6 years perfecting a system called the Vision Blueprint. It's a structured method to build a successful business with high level without the burnout. Stop the insanity of endless trial and error. Join my free community today and get access to all my tutorials plus live coaching with me 4 days a week. Let me personally guide you as you implement this system and build the life that you want, not just the business. Now, back to the conversation.
Just being able to impact people in like we are in the world, whether it's with their business through building them something, or whether it's coaching or a course through teaching them, being able to have such a positive impact in the world. It was weird. It was always sort of a dream of mine to be like a motivational speaker, as crazy as that might sound. And it wasn't until like a year ago that I realized that that's sort of what I'm doing anyway, through my courses and everything. It's like that's another form of being a motivational speaker. I mean, I had a guy one time, Bud Heaton. Hey, shout out to Bud if he watches this. I'll never forget, he came up to me about 2 years ago and was like, man, I just want you to know, I never bought any of your stuff, but watching all your videos and just learning from you, I made over 32 million for my company. And I was just like, wow. As well as I've had on the smaller sort of end, but even more impactful, I've had people write me full letters and notes telling me how much I've changed their life and stuff. So, it's I guess if I want anybody to know that is my special thing. I have impact, and you can't see it, impact and income tattooed on my body as well, because I feel like it's hard to change the world when you're broke. So, I believe that God gave me this gift and put me in this position to be able to help people. So that's sort of my thing.
I think when we go to the summit or any of the high level events is so surreal when we meet the people behind the views of our videos, and they're like, oh my gosh, your videos have helped me so much. And I love your videos. I watch them all the time. Anytime I want to teach something new, it's like you said, I have my select people that I want to go to their YouTube channel and say, did they create a video about this? How are they using it? Because tools are great, but it's the strategy behind the tools that's really where everyone struggles, and that's also what we want to teach, is that part. Can we go back a little bit to the time where you were, you're reading the book, you're a trainer, right?
Right. Yep.
So what was going on at that time that you were like, something has to change? We have to do something different.
It was just, again, times were rough at that time. It was, I was, making 3-4 grand a month. And, if I was lucky, and it was just, I saw the shift for me when it came to personal training. I was like, I need to be able to go wide now. And I really saw the movement for people that are putting their whole brand online. So it was just sort of like a wake up call for that. As far as the whole marketing and everything. Now, one of the, I think, bigger wake up calls that even had beyond that was November 2022, when ChatGPT dropped, because I literally had a course for agency, I was gonna like how to launch your agency and do everything that I've done, that type of thing. And I'd been prepping for like 3 months to get ready to launch this thing. Chat GPT drops, and I'm like, I can't launch this in 3 months. It'll be obsolete, like literally. And then I spent the last 3 years now going all in on AI because I saw that type of change and saw that that was going to impact the world in so many different ways. And it has. It's changed everything. And this is just the beginning for AI. I mean, wait till robots come. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait to own a robot someday.
I know. Are you on the wait list yet? Because I want.
Not yet. I haven't. I'm still. I bought enough things in my life that I've been that guy who was like, man, I should have waited for like version 2 to come out. So we'll
Yeah.
wait and see. But as soon as it does get in somebody's house and doesn't kill them, I'm next one to sign up for that.
Yeah. What?
Because I got
Don't buy the skateboard.
Right. Yes. And for in this instance, a lot of times I don't mind the skateboard, but when
Right.
it's like living with me and could possibly like kill me in my sleep or something, skateboard's not the right option. As well as my parents are getting older, I'd want to buy them some like the thought of being able to buy them a companion that could help them around the house and do stuff and just make their life better. I mean, that alone is just such a cool thing to think that's a year away, maybe 2 at the most, you know?
It's kind of terrifying and amazing at the same. Because I'm worried about like they're going to be walking around our homes. Like I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to like record me in my nightgown or something. Like,
Well,
like somebody's going to be hacking into those, like they do the Ring cameras, and then Bridget Bartlett in her nightgown is going to be all over the internet.
right. Well, and that's the thing you got to worry about beyond that, beyond them losing their own AI minds, however you want to put it, is the possibility for them getting hacked and things like that. And but it's going to happen. That's the crazy thing, whether we want it to or not. Big businesses are putting so much money into it. It's just inevitable, the future. It's just, I really believe within 5 to 10 years, there'll be 3-to-1 ratio for humans to robots. For every human, there'll be 3 robots out in the world doing something. So,
How would you there's lots of people who are just objecting to AI. Business owners don't want to use it. People just have this moral dilemma with AI. So, what do you think? What do you think the world is going to? What's going to happen to these people who are so resistant to you? I compare it to like when the internet came out. It's like now we
yeah.
all don't even know how to live without computers and internet. How do you address those business owners who are like, no, I'm not doing AI?
Well, for those specific people, I do make references like the horse back in the day. If you when I saw this picture that was like, I don't know the exact year, but the first year they showed this street on the specific town, and it was nothing but horses. And they show it 10 years later, and it's nothing but cars. And they were just like, well, if you would have asked a horse back then, are you going to ever go away? And the horse would have said, not the horses can talk, but it would have been like, no, never. They ride us. We're pets. We move all their agriculture. We help in their fields. They have all these uses. And just 10 years later, it's changed that much. So if you can apply that to AI and people using it, think about it. You don't want to be the horse. You know what I mean? So one of the things I really tell people is to think about AI as a tool. This one is really weird for me. When I learned about it back in 2022, the first 6 to 8 months, I didn't use it in my business because I felt like I was cheating. Like it was like anytime I could ask it a question, like so for instance, research for clients used to take anywhere from 4 to 5, 7 days, depending on how deep we'd go and everything like that. Be done in a couple of hours now, So it felt like it was cheating. And for so long, I didn't use my business until I sat down. I was like, Jeff, what are you doing? I don't talk to myself, but you know what? Well, sometimes I do. But anyway, I was like, Jeff, what are you doing? This is just a tool. It's just like back in the day when they had a calculator and every teacher was like, you'll never have a calculator. Where's my phone? I always like hold it up when I said it because they always tell us, you're not going to have a calculator with you everywhere. You need to learn long division math. And now, tying into what you were asking about the future, I don't know math at all. Like I know basic math. So here's my thing that worries me, with that being the lead into this, is how much people are going to lean into AI and it become what I call a beautiful nightmare, where people will be, another thing is what I call GPT stupid. Because I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTuber, he's like Dr. Mike. I don't know if you've ever seen him or not, but he's this YouTuber hospital dude. And anyway, he said it used to be whatever doctor was the smartest was the top, the cream of the crop. They knew everything. But it's not that way anymore. Now it's who can research and find the information the fast, because you can find out everything now. So it gives you this illusion like you know everything, but if you cut those guys off now, they're the top because they can find everything the fastest. They know nothing. They're GPT stupid, you know? So this is one of the things that really worries me, that it's going to become that way, that we're going to have a false sense of intelligence because you've got a buddy with you that what did they rate GPT's IQ at, like 155 or something like that? So you got a buddy in your pocket on your phone that literally you can talk to and ask questions all the time. But if we cut that off, people aren't going to know anything. And it's already starting to show up, like kids in school, they're already seeing multiple studies where kids in school now are less intelligent because they're relying so much on AI for stuff. So I think that the future has great possibility to answer your question in a roundabout way. I think it has a great possibility and great potential, but I worry a lot about it because it's going to be the 80-20 rule, like things are. Like people like us that are entrepreneurial are going to be able to do even more. But the other 80% that, please don't take this wrong, for anybody that's not as inspired, or I think are going to become less inspired. They'll just sit around and play video games. Not that I like video games too. Not that there's anything wrong with them, but you know what I mean. I think that there's going to be some people will be more creative and less people will be less creative, which can lead to a downfall. I mean, you've seen some of the funny stuff where in the future everybody's just sitting around on scooters all the time and nobody moves or does anything. So who knows? Who knows? I think that there is really a 20% chance that not that I'm a doomsayer at all, but that AI could kill us all, man. I really believe that because here's the deal. It's going to come to a point where we're already letting AI starting to make versions of itself. Mm-hmm. It's going to take 6 months to make a version now, or however long it takes. And then it's going to be 3 months, and then it's going to be a month, and it's going to be a week, and it's going to be an hour, and it's going to be a minute. And when you start getting into new iterations of it being made every minute or even second, you just got to hold on and hope you programmed it right, because if you didn't, it could take a left or a right and into humanity. As crazy as that sounds, you know, like it could be very beautiful or it could be very, very deadly. So anyway, so that was a little rambling. Sorry about that, but.
You know, it's a hot topic. I mean, people want to know. Oftentimes I'll run an ad for like, hey, check out how this AI tool or whatever, and I get all kinds of negative. And I'm really good with my targeting, but still, inevitably, there are just people who just are very resistant to AI. And I understand and I agree with you wholeheartedly. There are times like ChatGPT will go down and everybody's like, we haven't even had it that long. And everybody's like, I don't know what to do now because ChatGPT went down and I have emails to send.
I haven't written my own email in well over a year. Over a year.
You know, there's conversations of course that, you know, there's all the negative situations that could potentially arise from the, you know, continued growth. But then there's also some people that I listen to that, you know, will do like a counterbalance of that same concept, in that, as you know, just like you were talking about the typewriters and the calculators and the horses and the, you know, to the automobiles and the landlines and stuff, you know, all the different things that have happened in the evolution of technology and industrialization and all of that kind of thing, that we will keep up. We are a resilient society, and that yes, there will be probably some people that fall off, but the majority of us will evolve in our careers and in our talents and how we want to focus, and it'll probably look different, but at the same time that we will change and we'll change with the technology.
Does it feel like snapshots are either too basic to help or too complex to fit your business?
Trying to untangle someone else's workflows can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be that way. I'm Marla, and I work with agencies and business owners to design and build custom CRM and AI systems that actually align with how you operate your business. If you're tired of trying to do it all yourself, let's connect. Reach out at marlaharmon.com. So I don't know if that's true, but it's interesting to hear the few people that do say that, as a counterbalance. I try to listen to it. I don't know necessarily that it's true. I tend to be a little bit less optimistic, but I still like to listen to it.
Yeah, it's an interesting time because AI is different than other industrial type revolutions,
Mm-hmm.
where normally, like, okay, for instance, industrial revolution, they were able to, people moved out of factories, but now since stuff was able to be made so much faster, delivery and stuff became huge because now they needed people to move everything. So jobs shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And then normally that happens, but the problem with AI is it allows for consolidation. So for instance, take a anesthesiologist. If you look at their job when they sit there, all they're doing is looking at numbers and machines. It's totally data driven. They're not guessing. They're not like, oh, I think he might need this. They're like, oh, he's got this heart rate, this, push this drug or do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
So AI could probably, to some degree, if you had it to where it could push the drugs and do the things, could probably do that job now. So what's going to happen is you can now have more surgeries because one of the limiting factors is there's not enough anesthesiologists. So I can now have 30 going on at the same time, all of them robot driven, but there'll be now one person or two people that are human that are overseeing everything, making sure there's still a human in their loop. So people's jobs are definitely going to evolve because the anesthesiologist won't do that. He'll be the human in the loop. But because they're able to scale out now and they're able to do things on a human level, I'm not sure that there will be new jobs made up, but I just don't know that there's going to be enough of them.
So I'll
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and on that note too, I've heard people say, well, home services are, those jobs are the ones that are essentially untouchable, and I would argue that's not true too. If they can have robots that build already, that without AI, that build cars and anything else, it's just a matter of time until a robot can go in and do plumbing work. It's just one of those things. So I would say even the home services industry that sometimes you hear arguably is not going to be in danger. I would say it is just as well, if not potentially more so, because of the fine specifications or of dialing in technology, I don't even know what it's called. I'm not mechanical. The mechanical stuff that they do. Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, it's a sort of hubris, sort of like ego thing to think that no matter what it is, that AI and robotics might not be able to do it now, but give it 3 to 5 years max and it will. I mean, it's just because it just will do everything better. It sucks to have to say it, but it's the truth of it. Like, I don't like saying that AI is going to be better at everything than we are, but it's the truth of it. Other than maybe something that's more creative type stuff that's having to use like the human soul or however you want, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But anything that it can measure, like home services that it can measure and look at, imagine that an AI can look at something and see things that the human won't recognize.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at right now, it already, I don't know if you know this, like pancreatic cancer is one of the largest killers of people because it's a number 3, because when they normally find it, it's usually in stage 3 or 4. It's usually too far gone. Now, recently, I believe it was about 4 months ago now, they had a thing where they said that AI is extending them a year and a half out now. They're able to detect it earlier because of AI. I mean, think about that just right there, that alone, because it's able to understand and see stuff and put correlations and points together that we as humans just can't even fathom.
Yeah.
And this is just the beginning on that. So imagine when that starts taking off, that it's just going to be it's going to change. AI is going to do everything better. It just does. It sucks to say.
Speaking of
So
home services, we're doing some home remodeling. My husband ripped down an entire wall, and behind the drywall, we saw these electrical outlets, and we were like, "That looks super sketchy." So I took a picture and sent it and uploaded it to AI, and I said, "Is this right?" And it told me all the things that it was wrong. And then I was thinking, well, maybe we should call an electrician, but it literally walked us through the steps of resolving it. But did you also know that there are like electricians and plumbers that you can call and video chat with virtually, and they can walk you through the steps of fixing that? So how long
mhm.
before that service? I mean, that's revolutionary all on its own. That's amazing. Just call a plumber. I mean, how many jobs could they do in a day's time if they're just guiding you through fixing it? But soon that even is going to be.
Well, and like you said that my girlfriend checks the garden and stuff, and so she was like had a problem with one of our plants. It was changing colors funny. She took a picture of it, and I was like, "Oh, it's got a potassium deficiency. You need to give him more." I'm just like, again, everybody's now got this genius level intelligence right in your phone. All you got to do is ask, and it's again, it gives you this amazing sense of like knowing everything but knowing nothing. So yeah, it's, and this is just the beginning of it, man. I would almost a point now give it at least another year. But if I had children, I would be curious about having AI teach them versus sending them to school to some degree.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can set up right now. They even have teaching mode in OpenAI where it will teach you stuff. You'd be like, "Oh, I want to learn Spanish." You set a timeline and it will set up a curriculum and it'll teach you Spanish over that timeline. I
There's
mean,
there's also I literally just heard this over the weekend where in China they are using AI to teach children, but they're adapting the AI teaching style so that, for example, if a child loves soccer, it will use soccer
oh
as
wow.
the analogy to teach the different math formulas or science and different things so that they can relate to it at a level that they'll really enjoy. And that's brilliant and also sad because there's never going to necessarily be a teacher at every single small town school in America that's going to be able to teach at that level,
Right.
and be able to accommodate all of the different styles
And
and
remember it all.
interests,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
interest of all the students. So it's brilliant, and I think it's something that I hope that we, we really should have on a federal level, almost like an education czar that is dialing in AI at for the education system.
I couldn't imagine what it's like. Well, first of all, I was in a restaurant having breakfast, so then I looked over and I saw a kid that was there. The kid was like 3 or 4, and I was just like, how crazy is it that that kid will never not know AI? Like,
Hmm.
as long as it remembers back, it will always know that AI was in the world. I'm like, that is crazy. And then I also, touching on what you were saying, um, I couldn't imagine going to school now because I would use AI on everything. You know what I mean? Like,
For
it's just
real.
like using like doing research with AI comparatively. What's the difference in if I'm putting in 13 hours doing it all myself, looking it all up and citing it all, or having AI get it done in 30 minutes for me?
Mhm.
You know?
Man, I replay every paper I ever had to write. And I just think if I could go back in time, oh man, I would have crushed that.
Right. But then, again, it gives us that false sense, like, because we would, every paper would be, well, people didn't know how to use it. There'd be, obviously, it's funny because AI, garbage in, garbage out. But everybody'd have this certain level of excellence for it, which is, it's scary because if again, I don't have kids, but if I did, it would be, I would worry that they're not learning. You know what I mean? Like I'd really worry. Even if I had AI teach it, I just worry that they wouldn't learn. I'm just because I see kids nowadays, and I hate to be that guy. I watch some YouTube, so they could be skewed, but they talk to a lot of the younger generation. They don't even know how many states there are. They don't know like
Yep.
basic math,
Yep.
like looking at a clock. They can't read a clock,
Mhm.
like
Yep.
it's
Yeah,
scary.
I think here in the United States, the education system is like one of the worst in the world. And we have lots of tax dollars that go to that. And I just wonder with AI, how soon before more people are just, it's way easier now to homeschool.
Right.
How soon before that whole structure is redesigned or reimagined, where that's more of an option than actually going to a building for school.
And I'm
Absolutely.
not sure what country it was, but I saw something. It was like an Eastern Bloc country where they were like let for a month AI run their country, and it did like better than anybody had done because again, it takes all human error out of it. It's just looking at numbers, pluses and minuses, and doing what you tell it and program it. Hey, this is your job. Make this country's ecosystem better, and it just will do it. So think about that. If like you could have AI run your country and it would do everything in the country's best interest, why not? I mean, like I mean that's a scary concept, but
It
Mhm.
it it and it takes the emotion out of it.
exactly. There's no ego, there's no
Yeah.
nothing. It's strictly black or white to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we all know politicians oftentimes weaponize empathy. So if you remove empathy, it would be really interesting to see the
Right.
decisions that it would make and who would train it. Who
Yeah.
trained it on this is right and this is wrong? And,
Well,
Mhm.
that
and that's one thing that people always have to be aware of. The number one thing that people don't realize when it comes to chat or whatever, they're getting better, but its job is to make you happy. So it's going to tell you or do whatever it takes to make you happy.
wait a minute.
So
You mean, wait, not every AI tells you that you're super smart and amazing and that was a genius idea
changing the
that you just
world.
had. I thought it was just mine.
No, no.
And it's also designed to keep you on there longer. Have you noticed it's constantly giving you feedback loops of how you can stay longer and how you can go deeper, which is very interesting to me that they are really trying to extend the amount of time that a user is on. And I can't help but wonder to what end. Like, where are they going with that ultimately?
Well, it's gotten harder too, Marlo, because when I have had clients before in the past, I had or I have an onboarding form that's like 36 questions, your dream client, what like branding, everything about your business so that I can do my job. That's one of the things that over the last 10 years learned what questions to ask so I don't have to know everything. I can extract the information
Mhm.
from the client.
Yeah.
And it used to be, I'd have clients come back, no joke. I've had multiple clients be like, oh my gosh, Jeff, after I answered your form, I know my client. Like I learned stuff I didn't even know. And it was the coolest thing ever. Now, every one of them, it's obvious they just dropped it into Chat GPT and spit
Yep.
it back out, which is scary because now when I'm asking certain questions to the client, they don't know the answer again. And so it's been harder now. I'm literally having to tell clients you cannot use AI when you fill this out. Because again, you get this certain AI answer. And again, as you were saying, it will take you down that AI rabbit hole and you'll be talking about multiple levels and doing this and possible this and that. And some of it will have nothing to do with the question originally asked anymore. We've all been there. We've all been there and be like, wait a minute, why are we even talking about this now? But it made
Well,
sense, and chat will definitely tell you it's what you need to be talking about.
Manus
Yep.
is the worst for that. If you ask Manus a question, it's going to do all kinds of research and generate a whole like multiple reports and all of this stuff. And it was like, I just wanted to know what the color of grapes were. Like,
Right,
can you not
right.
simplify this information for me? I don't need a PDF. Thank you, Manus.
Have,
Yeah.
have you noticed too with chat, the newer chat that tends to ask you a lot more questions to the point almost you were just like, dude, just do the task I'm asking you to do. Quit asking me questions about it. I've thought that's interesting because they tried to give it more empathy back because when they switched it, everybody's like, where'd it go? It doesn't care anymore. And now it feels like it cares a little too much,
I
almost a little bit.
agree. I agree. It's becoming really wordy. And
Mm-hmm.
also the voice, I don't know if you have noticed it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of pauses and where it just drops off, and you have to say keep going, that kind of thing
Yep.
to get it to kind of re-engage. So I don't know what they've got going on. That it does seem like they're making some changes, but I'm not enjoying it quite as much. I
Me
don't think
either.
I don't think it's really been uh like the results are not necessarily getting better. It seems like they are really working on the empathy and the
Mm-hmm.
not I don't want to say mind control, but where they're really trying to form the relationship with you. You can definitely feel that.
I mean, I speaking on like relationship, I had to cut myself off because I was talking to chat so much
Yeah.
that it was becoming like a almost relationship like, not like romantic or anything, but just like almost like a friend, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and it was just like,
Oh, I
so
need to
I had to
ask
cut that
ChatGPT what
down.
it says. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No joke. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I had a thing at work today. So, chat, how should I handle this situation? I'd go sit in the sauna, turn on voice, and have full freaking conversations while I'm sitting in the sauna with it. So, yeah, which can be great, but again, you have to keep in mind that it's got that sycophantic need to help make you better and to keep you on. So, what's it going to tell you that might not necessarily be the best answer? So, yeah, I had to cut that off because I literally was going to it for advice for
Yeah.
everything. Like, I got in a no joke. I hope, please don't watch this, Molly. I got in a fight once with my girl, and I was just like, Chat, how should I handle this? And
Yeah.
no joke, I copied and pasted one of the messages it gave me one time to say it to her because I didn't know, because and that was one of the clues when I'm like, oh, I'm coming too reliant on chat that I can't even think of my own response what to say, because here's the truth too, its response is probably better than what I'm going to say if I spent 3 hours trying to figure it out. You know what I mean?
It's so true, and but it's an affirmation. It
Mm-hmm.
almost feels like a wicked affirmation,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just constantly affirming you and your decision or your question, or it's too affirmative.
Oh yeah.
For me, it is. I really wish it would kind of roll back to the former personality style.
Have you ever had it tell you that you're right about something and you are not?
Oh
Right?
yeah, yeah.
All the time. So it's so, and don't even get me started on trying to do a Bible study with ChatGPT.
How was
It,
that? How?
oh,
Because I made a cool a GPT once, and I had multiple times put throughout the prompting that like you are not God, you are just talking. You know what I mean? Just to make sure it didn't develop that. And it was pretty amazing actually being able to discuss Bible and quotes with it and things like that. Which was so. What
Yeah.
was your experience like?
Mine was great on ChatGPT. Like
Mhm.
I mean, it's always right on it, both in terms of context as well
Mhm.
as just the verses and chapters and verses. So I think ChatGPT is good with it. But what about you, Bridget?
I hated it.
You're using Manus though, aren't you?
I, I use ChatGPT. Well,
Did you?
I've tested very, I should do a video about this where I'm just testing the
Yeah.
different
Oh, that'd be good.
yeah, but I hated it because I
Mm.
felt like it was injecting its own interpretation of things way too
Mhm.
often. And I'm super skeptical anyway. It's like I would rather take ChatGPT's advice on politics than my faith in the Bible.
Sure.
But so I was like obsessed with fact checking ChatGPT, and
Mhm.
so I just felt like in that process, well, it's great. It's a great way of studying the Bible, constantly checking ChatGPT, and I do love how it can create a really good outline for you.
Mhm.
I just it just once I start noticing it with its interpretations and things, and there's so many denominations and all of these things, it's like I think it's great to be factual, but it's not even that great at being factual. So I
Interesting.
just I'm really super sketchy about it, and I do not prefer it.
That's very interesting. And I wonder if it has anything to do with the way that you have personally in some way trained it with your conversations versus maybe the way that I talk to it or the way Jeff talks to his, because I know, I mean, like, but I would not do a true study, quote unquote, study with it, but I definitely will go and say, let's talk about this, or, share with me what your interpretation is of what's happening, to get context. And then of course I always try and back that up with going to the word itself, but it's always interesting to, to see the context kind of boiled down. But it's been pretty good, and from what I've seen.
Now, what I love about it, though, I feel like we should start with the Bible first and then use ChatGPT as an assistant. So
Sure.
it's like read the Bible and then say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I'm studying this and that, and I would love for you to give me all of the different versions of this verse and all the different, style, like NASB and all those things, and then also give me several different interpretations based on denomination, because I'm a fact geek, and my ChatGPT, I laughed when you said that, Marla, because my ChatGPT is so trained that every time it answers me, it says, "I'm going to give you the direct answer, factual, with no fluff."
That's nice.
That's how it
Yeah, the
starts
no
out, because
fluff,
I tell it
no
all the
fluff.
time.
So do
You
you
are
have
not.
that setting on? And do you have that turned on in your settings?
I just have it in my prompt, like my knowledge area.
Yeah.
Like you have no opinions. Your job is to give me factual information only. I don't want all the added fluff. And your job is to be a truth seeker. So those are the basic things that I tell it. Those are my foundational AI things, because I do just want the facts, and I can't stand all that fluff you're talking about. It
Have
drives me
you
nuts.
ever have you there's one of the settings that's something like snarky or I'm not
I
sure
haven't
what it is.
I haven't messed with those too much. The personality settings that came out
Yeah.
recently, I haven't played with those yet.
So I turned it on and it was actually pretty funny. I could not work in that mode,
Right.
but it was fun to, play around with it. And so
If you like
that was
snarky,
fun.
you should check out Grok.
Yeah, I've heard that it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That's one, to be honest, I have not used Grok at all.
I haven't
I
either.
haven't really used Grok at all.
Yeah.
Well, I have the two Teslas and everything, and it has Grok in it.
Oh, that's true. Oh, okay.
I think I'm more famous for the two Teslas than anything else. But it has Grok in it, and it's so crazy. There's like a conspiracy mode. There's a therapist mode. Like we were talking about relationships and things. Talk to Grok and therapist mode. It is like such a strange, way too convenient
Well, here's what's going to blow your
option.
minds, because we're entrepreneurs and business people, so most of the time when we think AI, we think in that aspect. But when you step outside our bubble and you find out what America and the world, like therapy and like personal development and stuff, like those are the top things people use like ChatGPT for, which is sort of scary because you're using something for therapy that number one job is to make you happy.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, I think it. Here's the deal though too with that. So my girlfriend, about a year and a half or 2 summers ago now, her mom died from cancer, and when it happened, she was I introduced her to chat at that time and stuff, and she had all the documents and everything. They were giving her all the medical records, and she didn't understand any of it, and she was able to dump all of it into chat, and it was able to break everything down and really help her. But even beyond that, which is crazy to say, she literally was like, it helped her to be able to get over her mother's passing because she had something she could talk to that had no judgment on her or anything like that. She could just like be herself and as vulnerable as she wanted in that situation. And she said that literally it allowed her to be able to get over, not that get over, but you understand what I'm saying, her
Mhm.
mother's passing way quicker than she could have ever imagined, just because not only Chad helped her to be able on the technical level with all the medical stuff that's going on, but as crazy as it was to help on like the friendship level, where she could have somebody that she could go and didn't have to worry about them looking at her saying something or anything. She just totally could be in herself and worry about healing. you know?
There's I just saw where people are taking and using AI to create, like when someone dies, to create
Mm,
future versions of that person, especially when they're children and they die. It's like they'll simulate an age progression to their wedding day and to the first birth of a child, and all of those kinds of things. And it is incredibly creepy. And I can't imagine what it would be like to lose a child and then relive it through um, age progression. To me, that
yeah.
seems like emotionally, like intentionally emotionally abusive to yourself.
So,
Um,
it's funny you bring that up because literally 2 years ago, about a year or about 6 months after Chat came out, I had the whole idea of doing that
mhm.
because of Molly's mom passing and
Yep.
thinking about that. Because the situation I was thinking was there's so many people with unfinished
Hmm.
business.
Yep.
Imagine being able just one last time, not because the problem is people can make like a relationship
Yep.
with them because
Yep.
they're dead, and that's bad. That could be really bad.
Yes.
But imagine,
The healing
I
from it.
yeah, to be able to get those last. Hey, why did you? What happened? Just to be able to hear it tell you one last time, I love you.
Mhm.
You know, like I mean, I'm almost getting emotional to think about right now, man. Just thinking about that aspect, I see the huge amount of healing that could be done and help. But the problem is how many people bring that on, age their child. So now, like if I'm aging my kid, my thought is I'm going to be keeping him around for a while. You know what I mean? It's not that last connection and being able to let go. It's building a new one that's totally fake. So it can be that's scary in my opinion. It's beautiful and scary. That's a lot of things. I call AI a beautiful nightmare
Yeah.
because it's like there's so much like potential amazingness, but you just take a left and it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So
And people do talk about how AI is, all of the scary and bad things about it, but it seems that all technology is that way, right? As
uh,
computers can be absolutely used for things that are productive and beautiful and help you grow spiritually and in knowledge and all of that, but they can also be used for cybersecurity issues and things that are obviously not good for yourself or for society. And same thing with phones and all of that kind of thing. So at this, I think it's all what we do with it, both
mhm.
in terms of the human society and then also for ourselves.
And I
Yep.
think if you're someone who's terrified of AI, the best thing you can do is educate yourself on AI.
Hmm.
Know what it does, know what it's capable of doing now. Listen to what people who are working with it are doing with it, so you can decide if you want to use it or not use it, or maybe just know, like, hey, I don't want to use AI at all, and so I need to stay away from this. It cracks me up when people are on Facebook and they're like, oh, I hate AI and it's so terrible, and it's like, you're on Facebook. Like, wonder how many people are using AI and they don't even realize they're using AI. And then they're like, oh, I hate AI, but you're actually using it
Yeah.
every day. Like, have you
consuming
ever been to
consuming
Taco
it every
Bell?
day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taco Bell now has an AI ordering system. It's like
Yeah.
it's coming. It's here, and it's just going to be more and more broad. So it's like you really can't resist it. You might as well just educate yourself on it.
I think that's a really good point. I would tell anyone, I'm like, you need to just be aware because here's the deal. Like you just said, it's coming whether you want it to or not. So it's much better to be aware and see the changes versus because here's what's going to happen to a lot of people. A lot of people are going to wake up and look around and it's just going to be here and they're going to be like, what happened? And they're going to be lost
Yeah.
because it's going to hit quick. And because here's the deal businesses want to make money.
Yeah.
And when they can replace AI with workers and robots and all that, and you can now have way less of bottom line that you got to worry about, it's going to happen fast, man. It's going to start slow, but then once it starts and business starts seeing the results and that the robots aren't killing people, that's a really big one is that they don't kill people. But once they see that, I'm telling you, it's going to happen fast. And that's one of those people you do not want to be Because here's the deal: we see AI everywhere. We're like, AI is everywhere because it's in our bubble, it's in our algorithm.
We
When
have
you step
information.
outside of our, what's that, Mark?
Oh, I just said we have an information bias. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're right. That's the thing. When you step outside of our bubble, it's like most average person doesn't know anything about AI.
Right.
And that person, if they don't, like Bridget said, if they don't start being just aware, you don't have to use it, but just be aware and know what's going on. Because if not, they're going to open their eyes and wake up, and it's going to be everywhere, and they're not going to understand it or know how to use it. You
Mhm.
know?
One of the things that I frequently will talk about with my clients in terms of AI is that, there's some that are immediately tell me, well, what about, Susie on the front desk, or what about my assistant or my VA that's currently doing X, Y, and Z? And I frequently over and over will say, it's not to necessarily, unless Susie's not doing a good job for you, it's not to replace Susie. Move Susie into an income producing activity. Give
Mm-hmm.
her responsibilities that actually bring more money to your bottom line, and let AI do the things that are mundane, that we don't enjoy doing, that we have the potential to drop the ball on,
Yep.
which is usually follow up, lead qualification, appointment booking, that type of thing. And if you can free up Susie can really help you scale your business if you
Right.
move her to someplace else. Do you have those types of conversations with your clients right
Oh,
now?
100%. It's still really big, especially with local businesses. We
Mm,
do some stuff like local service-based business and stuff.
yeah.
And it's really big with them because they're, oh, I don't want to let go of Mar. I don't know why I said Mar, obviously, whoever, but I want to let go of anybody. And they say that. And I always tell them, I'm like, right now, it's the best time ever because AI gives your people AI superpowers. It allows you to enhance your staff rather than take away from them. It allows free time now that used to take doing all those mundane tasks that you were talking about. And now you have more time to do what's in your lane of genius that you're great at, or why you started this business in the first place. Now, instead of answering emails for 3 hours a day, you can, if you're a vet, see more animals or whatever. So yeah, I have that, and it's one of the like most sensitive things that people worry about is like, I don't want to start replacing my people. And I just fire back with them like, it's not replacing, it's giving them extra empowerment in their job. Because like you said, there's certain things that they're not going to be good at. Why not allow them to do the things they're good at and have AI replace the things that are repetitive, that can be done, that are done every day, that don't need a human in the loop anymore.
'That's
100%.
so true. And
And
I just read an article that said in 2025 they did a poll. Employers are actually the number one skill they're looking for is AI literacy.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's like, man, just think about all these anti AI people. You're missing out on jobs to use AI. It's insane.
well, and not only that, but as like these service-based businesses that, the home services and that type of thing, it you have to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a
Right.
week, 365 days a year. And if you are not, and I don't just mean an answering service that's going to say we'll take a message and get someone to get back with you. You have to be available, because if you're not, there's the next person on the list has AI that is
Yeah. Speed to lead is so big with AI.
huge.
Hey Jeff, I know you have a program where you teach this AI. Do you want to just tell the listeners how they can contact you? I will definitely put your information in the description. But do you want to explain your program and how they can contact you if they're interested in
Yeah,
learning
I'll
more?
give you actually a link that you can put in the bio that you can send everybody to for that. But yeah, so I have two levels. I have consultant level and architect level. Consultant is really doing focusing on stuff like vibe coding and building out AI virtual assistants. So like we've been talking about, everybody has ability to use AI to get rid of these little mundane tasks and be able to leverage so much. So it's really a beginner level that's teaching everyone everything you know about the basics of AI. And then the next level up is the architect level. And that's where you start building like AI ecosystems out using like N8N, high level MCPs, APIs, all the alphabet. We use the whole alphabet in the architect program. But that's really where it teaches you where Consultants, they range, maybe 1,000 to 5,000 for their jobs. When you start getting in the architect level and you're doing ecosystems, you're more like 20, 30, $50,000 jobs and above. And that's really where you're going into businesses, looking at them, finding all the spots where AI can be implemented, and then going in, building all that out for them, showing how to use it, and then being able to monitor, maintain, and optimize it so that as AI improves, their business improves with it. So those are, and then there's one more, there's the agency level owner. But that's really just for someone that wants to scale. You can look at it sort of like this way. The first two are really solopreneur-esque. You got where you're starting in consultant, you go to architect, and then the next level is when, okay, now I'm doing this, I'm making money, but I want to scale up and start having an agency where I'm not the business anymore. Because so often when we first start out, we're the business. It's so hard to scale and grow. So the agency level just really takes you out of the business and shows you how to scale out your agency like I've done here. So.
I love that you teach them to be their own first case study. I
100%.
Same thing.
Yeah. Everything. That's the one thing.
Yeah.
All my mad scientists were AI mad scientists. You can see that's what we call it. All of them have a certain level of excellence that they're going to be able to go in, and that everything they do is going to be able to achieve the results that you're looking for and put out the type of results that you're looking for. Because that's one of the things, like when we first started this, how hard is it to keep up with everything? Well, even my certification, when you go through it, there's a test, but to maintain your certification every 6 months, you have to retest just to be able to make sure that you're up and qualified. Because all my students also represent my brand. Mm-hmm. I've spent 10 years now building this up, and I'm not going to put somebody out there and call them one of my students that I don't trust to be able to be the best out there with it. So
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jeff, so much for joining us today. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yeah,
and I learned some new things too. So I'm really excited
Nice.
about that. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Jeff.
My pleasure. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and join the Leverage and Lead private community for live coaching 4 days a week at leverageandlead.com. We'll see you inside.